On a hot summer night in 1993, in a peaceful house in Manassas, Virginia, an event happened that stunned the whole world. A case that not only shocked public opinion but also opened up fierce debates about domestic violence, human rights, and justice. John Wayne Bobbitt, a former Marine, and Lorena Bobbitt, his wife who immigrated from Venezuela, became the center of one of the most controversial cases in American history. Allegations of violence, abuse, and an unprecedented extreme act have made their names a hot topic across newspapers and television shows. But their story goes beyond tense trials or sensational headlines. Behind the testimonies and verdicts, there is pain, despair, and the fight to seek justice and recover from deep wounds. Today, we'll dive deep into the case of John and Lorena Bobbitt, exploring the painful truths, controversial legal decisions, and both of their journeys through adversity. This is not only a story of crime and punishment, but also a story of human tenacity and resilience. John Wayne Bobbitt and Lorena Bobbitt met in 1988 at a party and quickly fell in love. They married on June 18, 1989, just 1 year after meeting. Their initial married life seemed happy, but tensions and conflicts began to appear not long after. John, a former Marine, had difficulty reintegrating into civilian life. Lorena, an immigrant from Venezuela, works hard to support her family. However, cultural differences and financial pressures created many conflicts in their relationship. Lorena declared that throughout her marriage, she endured many forms of violence from John. These behaviors include beatings, sexual abuse, and controlling behavior. John repeatedly beat Lorena, causing many injuries on her body. These attacks usually occur when John comes home drunk or angry about something minor. Lorena testified that John regularly sexually abused her. She described being forced to have sex against her will, and John often used violence or threats to coerce her. John also strictly controlled Lorena's behavior, including controlling her finances, limiting her social relationships, and monitoring her daily activities. On the night of June 23, 1993, John came home drunk and raped Lorena. After John fell asleep, Lorena went into the kitchen, took a knife, and cut off his genitals. After performing this action, Lorena left the house, took her severed genitals with her, and drove away. She threw the part out of the car window and then called the police. Police quickly arrived on the scene and found John in a seriously injured state. He was immediately taken to the hospital for emergency treatment and surgery to reattach the severed genital part. Lorena was arrested and the investigation began. In interviews, Lorena testified about the years she suffered from John's abuse. She described in detail John's beatings, sexual abuse, and controlling behavior. Police collect evidence and testimonies to build a case file. With the evidence collected, both John and Lorena had to go to court to answer the charges. John was accused of raping his wife, and Lorena was accused of causing serious injury. John Bobbitt was tried on charges of raping his wife based on Lorena's testimony. At trial, John's lawyers argued that there was not enough clear evidence to convict him. They emphasized that Lorena's allegations were based on testimony without supporting physical evidence. John's attorney argued that there was no medical evidence or physical witnesses that could confirm that John raped Lorena that night. The doctor who examined Lorena found no obvious signs of sexual assault, which greatly reduced the strength of her testimony. John also had witnesses testify that he had not committed any violent acts in the past, and that Lorena had shown signs of mental instability in the past. In the end, the court acquitted John Bobbitt for lack of clear evidence to accuse him of rape. This ruling caused a lot of controversy and mixed reactions from the public, but it reflects the difficulty in proving crimes related to domestic violence without concrete evidence. Lorena Bobbitt was tried on charges of causing serious injury to John. During the trial, Lorena's lawyer argued that she acted under severe psychological stress due to prolonged abuse. Lorena's lawyers presented evidence that she was physically and mentally abused by John during their marriage. Psychologists were called in to evaluate Lorena's psychological condition, and testify about the impact of domestic violence on her. They argued that Lorena's actions were the result of a temporary mental condition caused by prolonged abuse. Reports from a psychiatrist showed that Lorena had experienced symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD) and severe depression due to domestic violence. These experts confirmed that her actions that night were an immediate psychological reaction to prolonged repression and pressure. The court accepted the argument that Lorena acted in a state of temporary insanity resulting from prolonged abuse and found her innocent. This ruling shows the court's recognition of the serious impact of domestic violence on the victim's psychology, and that Lorena's actions were a self-defense response in a state of severe psychological crisis. The case attracted widespread attention from the media and the public. The media covered the trial and verdict in detail, creating much debate and mixed opinions. Some people supported the court's decision, arguing that Lorena was a victim of domestic violence and that she acted under severe psychological pressure. On the contrary, some others believe that Lorena's actions are extreme and unacceptable, regardless of the reason. The case opened important debates about women's rights, domestic violence, and the legal system. It changes the public's perspective on the issue of abuse and domestic violence, contributing to the improvement of policies and support services for victims of domestic violence. After his acquittal, John Bobbitt became a widely known public figure. With the unexpected fame from the case, he began to participate in many entertainment projects. John has appeared in a number of television shows and even adult films, attempting to take advantage of media attention to make money. John appeared in adult films such as John Wayne Bobbitt Uncut and Frankenpenis in an attempt to cash in on public attention. These films have caused a lot of controversy, but also attracted the curiosity and interest of many people. After the events of the night of June 23rd, John had to undergo multiple surgeries to restore his genitals. The initial surgery lasted more than 9 hours, during which doctors attempted to reattach the severed part. Although the initial surgery was considered a success, John had to undergo multiple revision surgeries to improve function and aesthetics. These surgeries not only caused physical pain but also affected John psychologically, as he faced unwanted attention from the public and difficulties in reintegrating into normal life. After the case, Lorena Bobbitt decided to use her painful experience to help others. She became an active activist against domestic violence, using her voice and fame to raise awareness of the issue. Lorena has appeared on many television shows and participated in public discussions, sharing her story and calling for support for victims of domestic violence. She also writes books and participates in media projects to convey messages about the need to protect women's rights and safety. To concretize her activities, Lorena founded the organization Lorena's Red Wagon. This organization aims to support victims of domestic violence, providing counseling services, legal support, and shelter, safe housing for those who have been abused. Lorena's Red Wagon also works to raise public awareness about domestic violence and promote policies that protect the rights of victims. Women and children can find safety and stability in their lives. John and Lorena Bobbitt's post-trial lives went in very different directions. John, taking advantage of the fame from the case, participated in entertainment projects and underwent many surgeries to restore body functions. Meanwhile, Lorena used her experience to become an anti-domestic violence activist, founding an organization to support those experiencing violence. Both have faced different challenges and opportunities in the wake of that horrific event, but their stories continue to be a living testament to the profound impacts of domestic violence and the people overcome adversity. Thank you for following John and Lorena Bobbitt's story. Please continue to support and raise awareness about the issue of domestic violence so we can help and protect victims around us.